It's Young Justice Targets, the follow-up to the fourth season of Young Justice, titled Phantoms, after Garfield, along with the Outsiders, suffered a very tumultuous time with the supposed death of Connor. It shook Garfield so much that he essentially threw away everything. However, Garfield was able to recover thanks to the help of his friend. Now with this follow-up series, it seems like once again, Greg Weisman's favorite damsel in distress, Perdita, might once again be targeted by unknown forces, and it looks like it may be up to the Outsiders to handle the job. What can we expect to happen? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, so Young Justice Target. You got Beast Boy, Cyborg, Stargirl, Terra, Wonder Girl, and Superboy. Okay, an interesting lineup. Perdita targeted. You got Bow Hunters. Apparently Clayface joined up with Will and his team during some kind of audio drama. I really need to check out that audio drama they put on. But Bow Hunter Solutions, the legendary clipboard, and what looks like a team of dudes in what look to be Lexo suits? Is that what those are? Huh. Also, I'm glad Clayface ultimately turned good. Clayface has just such a history of being a good guy from time to time. And Garfield and Perdita ended up on the outs after his situation. But she had moved on last we saw in Season 4. Still hoping for Season 5. You got Garfield looking at various photos of Perdita on his phone. Someone calling to him, Garfield? Hey, Beast Boy! They have Young Justice Targets, Cherry Gig, which doesn't that stand for like an easy job? Written by Greg Weisman, nice. Art by Christopher Jones, colorization white, letters Wes Albert, cover Jones and Wright, variant covers. Oh, yeah, I'm not going through all that. Stargirl. Beast Boy looks up from his phone and says, yeah, what? Stargirl? I'm ready. Stargirl says, are you though? Look, I get that this is personal, but maybe it's too personal. I know Gardita was over months ago, but you and Queen Perdita were a couple for a while, and maybe this isn't the mission Beast Boy should be using to stage his comeback. Okay, so the end of Season 4 of Young Justice was in September, and now we're at November, so it's only been like a couple of months or so. We're in Hollywood, November 11th, 12/32, team year 10. 10 years of the team, nice. Beast Boy turns to Stargirl and says, no staging involved. The Outsiders are rescuing Perdita, and Beast Boy is going. Stargirl says, why are you referring to yourself in the third person? Beast Boy responds, what? You started it. And as Sphere turns into his ship mode, Wonder Girl says, Courtney, it's time to go. It's go time, sorry. And now we pick up in Star City 2 days earlier. It's funny too because Perdita was originally introduced in a DC Showcase Green Lantern done by Wiseman. And you had, no, not Green Lantern, Green Arrow. You had Green Arrow saving her from her uncle, Count Vertigo. So, keeping that kind of in line with things. You see aboard Perdita's jet announcement, we're landing now, Queen Perdita. You hear a translation from Latvian as Perdita says, I hate this airport, Denny. Oh, is this the same airport where Vertigo kidnapped her? And Denny says, I understand, Your Highness, I do. And Perdita says, I knew you would. I wonder if that's what this callback is to, because that's where she was kidnapped, an airport. And then you have the lineup of Harpers, Roy Harper, Will Harper, Jim Harper, and who I'm assuming is Clayface in disguise, Harlan Matthews. Roy asks Will, new clipboard? Will says, yeah, but I think the balance is off, really. And Jim says, well, this is a pretty sweet gig. Harlan says, yeah, not sure why it requires Bow Hunter Security's big guns, but Roy turns to him and says, you guys trying to jinx us? The surest way to guarantee trouble is to... And Will says, Roy, just stay alert. Nothing happens to Queen Perdita, you understand? I take protecting her very seriously, very personally. Ooh. And now we pick up in Markovberg, where we see Count Vertigo and several other inmates. One of the inmates says, it's good tonight, as they eat in the cafeteria. Vertigo says, good. Plot. It is insulting. Peasant food. And the inmate says, yeah, well, I'm a peasant. Vertigo says, yes, that's perfectly clear. And then suddenly some weird light appears towards the roof that one of the other inmates noticed. And he says, Count Vertigo, what is that? And then a massive explosion goes off behind them, and a garrison of what looks like Lexo suits enter, pushing away the guards as they say, Count Vertigo, we are here at your command. Are you and your entourage prepared to depart? Vertigo says, of course. One of Vertigo's men says, you planned this? Why didn't you tell us? Oh, is that Dr. X? Okay. I couldn't tell at first. And as Vertigo and the rest of his team are slowly taken out of the prison, Vertigo addresses Dr. X and says it was need to know, Dr. X. Strictly need to know. We then pick up with the bow hunters transporting Perdita. You have car 1, car 2, and car 3. In car 1, you have Jim, who says, this is car 1, all clear so far. In car 3, you have Harlan, who says car 3 here, all clear. And in car 2, which is in the middle, you have Will, Denny, Perdita, and Roy. Will responds to the others and says, roger that, 1 and 3, stay alert. Roy turns to Perdita and says, it's very nice to see you again, Perdita. Perdita says, it's very nice to be seen. Denny turns to Will and says, we have the economic conference in 1600 hours. And Will responds, and the embassy dinner at 8 p.m. But first, a tour of Star City's Star Labs facility. Ooh, is that a good idea? Star Labs is always getting robbed. And as Roy helps Perdita out of the car, he asks, so, why Star Labs? Perdita responds, their board of directors wants to open a facility in Vladivostok. And since we were here, I thought I'd see what they had to offer. Roy asks, impressed? Perdita responds, as queen, I try never to appear impressed. And a voice says, well, we'll see if we can change that. Oh, it's Dr. Roquette. Wasn't she saved by Will all that time ago? Perdita sees Dr. Roquette and asks, you must be Dr. Roquette. She responds, please, call me Sterling, your majesty. As Perdita responds, only if you call me Perdita. Sterling responds, I will, thank you. She then introduces two people by saying, these are my colleagues, Doctors Dinah, Lance, and Oliver Queen. Doctors? Perdita shakes Oliver's hand and says, lovely to meet you. Yeah, meet. Perdita then turns to Sterling and says, I have to say, Sterling, I love your purse. Sterling responds, yours too, Perdita. Where did you get it? Perdita responds, well, don't tell the nobility, but I got it on sale at, and they both say Forever 16, and it is super cringy, but we'll let that go. Also, 16 drop. But then a garrison of Lexo suits just show up. I'm seriously sure those are Lexo suits. They burst in, crashing through the glass, and one of the chunks of glass gets stuck in Harlan's eye. He asks Will, boss? And Will immediately shouts while shielding Perdita, go full Clayface now! And as Harlan transforms into his true form Clayface, he says, just what I wanted to hear. And he smacks one of the Lexo suit. And as everyone braces themselves, Black Canary shouts, incoming. Will, still shielding Perdita, asks, where do we go? As Sterling tries to lead them away, saying, this way. We also have Roy ripping off one of his sleeves to reveal his robotic arm, going all Winter Soldier. He must lose a lot of shirts that way. Arsenal blasts one of the Lexo suits while Black Canary does her sonic scream on a couple of others. Green Arrow takes off his lab coat and says, and asks Jim, maneuver 7? Jim says, what? Oh, yeah. And Jim then launches Green Arrow into the air as he draws back his bow, firing into multiple of the Lexo suits until he is hit by one of them from behind. Ooh, one of the Lexo suits tranks Green Arrow in the neck as he says, ow, damn it! Green Arrow manages to recover onto the ground, but as he pulls the trank out and asks, what the hell? He slowly falls to the ground, unconscious. Ooh, the Lexo suit then proceeds to trank almost everyone. Denny, Sterling, Black Canary. Perdita cries out for Denny as Arsenal holds her back. Red Arrow says, Harlan, we need protection from those darts. Clayface then creates a clay wall saying, on it. However, the Lexo suits start firing off sonic attacks as Clayface says, "Uh-oh, Sonics and Clay don't mix." And slowly Clayface starts to break down because of the onslaught, saying, "Not good, not good, very not good," as he turns into goo. The Harper boys do their best to fight off the rest of the Lexo suits, but they're all simultaneously knocked back. But the three of them manage to recover and try to go back into the fight, only for Perdita to be grabbed as she shouts, "No, let go!" And the Lexo suits then fly off with Perdita, who is doing her best to just beat one of the Lexo suited people over the head with her purse, as Roy cries out, "Perdita!" As all the bow hunters can do is what? As Jim says, "We lost her. We lost the queen." And Roy responds, "We'll get her back. We have to." And Will adds, "And we will. I swear it." To be continued. We then pick up with Will back when he was about to receive Perdita at the airport, when he said, "Nothing happens to Queen Perdita. You understand? I take protecting her very seriously. Very personally." Okay, we're gonna find out about that comment as he flashes back thinking, "I won't fail her again. Not like I failed her before." We get Will's narration back when he was Red Arrow. It was late September night, 10 years ago in Vladivostok. This is Young Justice Target, Hot Mess, Memory 1. Written by Greg Wiseman, artist Christopher Jones, colorist Jason Wright, letterer Wes Albert, editor Ben Murray. Will's narration continues. As Red Arrow, I had acquired credible intelligence that the League of Shadows had accepted a contract to take the life of Vladivaz, King Joseph Vladek, Perdita's father. I was determined to save him, not because I was a big damn hero, but because I wasn't, because I thought I had something to prove. I was a mess back then. Some of the reasons why were beyond my control, but some were decidedly not. I could have shared my intel, called for backup, anything, but I was so confident I could handle anything and everything alone. Confident I could handle Sportsmaster alone. You see Sportsmaster preparing some kind of mace ball attack that he throws at Red Arrow. Red Arrow manages to dodge and fires off a suction cup arrow at Sportsmaster, who catches the arrow. Sportsmaster says, "That the best you got? One lowly arrow? And a broken arrow at that," as he snaps the arrow in half. The next thing you know, Sportsmaster is suddenly up close on Red Arrow. Red Arrow's narration says, "At the time, I had no idea how he'd gotten so close so fast. All I knew was that with one punch, he took me down and out." Oh, jeez. By the time I came to, it was all over. King Joseph was dead, and I hadn't even met Perdita yet. But my failure had orphaned her. Of course, now I know what happened. I was a programmed Cadmus clone, and Sportsmaster had used the trigger phrase "Broken Arrow" to shut me down. Ah, that's right. Broken Arrow was his trigger phrase, which I think he would use a more complicated trigger phrase than that, but whatever. But that changes nothing. 10 years ago, I failed Perdita Vladek. I will not fail her again. End Memory 1. Okay, this is a simple enough premise. Again, like I said before, Greg Wiseman's gone to his usual go-to of people trying to kidnap Perdita. He really does love to tell this story, though, of Perdita getting kidnapped, Count Vertigo going after her, but to find out that Red Arrow was involved on the night that Perdita's father was to be assassinated, that's interesting. Really connecting the Green Arrow family with Perdita, which makes a lot of sense. Again, Perdita was introduced in a DC showcase for Green Arrow. I'm just left wondering, how deeper does this go? What exactly is Count Vertigo up to? Is it just his usual thing of wanting to take the throne? I mean, he can't have an actual claim to the throne at this point, with everything that he's done, I wouldn't think. I'm also wondering how Beast Boy and the team is going to get involved with all of this. Honestly, speaking, like most comics, the cover is a bit misleading. It makes it seem as though the outsiders were going to be more deeply involved with all of this, with the bow hunters being more of a side situation. But no, the bow hunters were the primary characters in all of this. Now, whether or not that'll still be true in the future, we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm interested to see where this goes. I'm also wondering about these Lexo suits. Like, what's the deal with them? 'Cause these are so obviously Lex Luthor design, with the high collar, the symbol on the front. But I'm wondering, when did Lex produce these? Have we seen Lexo suits in this series before? Mine's a little hazy. I'm also wondering if my theory of, since Perdita has said during the finale of Phantoms that she had moved on, is Beast Boy gonna get together with Tara? We'll just have to wait and see, but tell me your thoughts in the comments section below. How do you feel about this old chestnut of Perdita being kidnapped? Seems like it happens once every few years or so. And are you hoping that Perdita and Beast Boy get back together? Or do you hope that this is the closure he needs to maybe move on with his life? I'd love to hear from you, but hey, subscribe as well, as I hope to check out the next issue when it comes out. Or don't. I ain't your daddy, but I still love you like one. Until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye!